Unfortunately, in the case of Eternal properties, they can't be re-rolled, so I have this pant here with the Whirlwind and Undying Rage Eternal properties, and if I try to enchant this, I'm not actually able to do it, and it says the magic property cannot be enchanted.
Yeah, boy.
Hey guys, so the major update is now live and we have a bunch of new stuff that's been added to the game, including a new questline and zone in Sharble Wilds, new BG mode, new Vanguard season, and also the new legendary gems, which a lot of people have been looking forward to. In this video, though, I wanted to focus more specifically on the new item crafting system, and we also got new materials with it, which actually looks really exciting. So the first thing that I actually noticed before we get started is that there's a new quality of life feature that we got, and that is that every single blacksmith in every single town now has the item crafting feature. This was only limited to Chassis in Westmarch, I believe, before the update, but now we have this new item crafting menu here, and you've got the equipment crafting, skillstone crafting, and then obviously also the set crafting that we had, which doesn't seem like it's been changed. So mainly I'll be talking about the equipment crafting as well as the skill stones crafting here. So unfortunately there isn't really much in terms of tooltips that we have here, but we can actually figure it out because it is pretty simple. So let's just quickly go through it here. So first of all, for the equipment crafting, you can see that we can craft any slot of our choice. So we've got all the armor pieces here, and then we've got the main hand and also the legendary offhand. And then if we take a look at the top right, we've also got new materials here. So we've got iron ore, silver ore, Stained Remains, and then finally Rhodolite, which is going to be the rare material for crafting. And then for the crafting options for each of these slots, we've got the option of either going for a regular craft or a fine craft. And the fine craft is what requires this Rhodolite material, which is going to be the rare material that we have. And if we just take a look at the normal crafting for now, it's going to give us a 2 to 3 random attributes. I believe these random attributes are things like intelligence, vitality, fortitude, strength, willpower, things like that. And then for the magic attributes, those are the ones that we are accustomed to, like the critical hit chance, critical hit damage, etc. And then it says that the equipment also gains a random special magic attribute. So I think that the special magic attribute is the eternal powers that we have, and you can see the full list of eternal powers by clicking on the magnifying glass there. So this is just the list for all classes, but if you want to filter it down by a specific class, you can do that by just clicking the drop down here. And it says that the crafted equipment will include a special magic attribute that is only for your current class. So this means that you can only select magic attributes for the wizard if you're a wizard, barbarian if you're barbarian, and so on. Something which I've just realized is that this list doesn't actually include all of the eternal magic attributes that you can get. So we've actually had new ones added to the game, like Scorch, Ray of Frost, and Frostfield here that you can see, but this list here already includes 7 of them. So it's Ice Armor, Teleport, Arcane Torrent, Arcane Wind, and then Meteor is nowhere to be seen. Disintegrate is nowhere to be seen. Ice Crystal, nowhere to be seen. So I think that the total should actually be 13, and it only has 7 options here, which shouldn't be the case. It should have all of them. So I think that this is a bug, and I'm probably going to end up reporting it. And it looks to be the same for all of the classes. It only includes 7 of them. Not too sure why this is the case. Let's just ignore this for now and move on. If we just click on the fine crafting option now, we can see the difference. So this one's going to give you 3 random attributes. So instead of having 2 to 3 as a chance, it's going to give you guaranteed triple stat. And it's also going to give you a guaranteed 2 to 4 magic attributes, which I believe is the same as what we have here. What's different here, though, is that it also allows you to have a selected special magic attribute. So instead of having a random one here, it's going to give you the chance to actually select the one that you want. So if we just click this quill here, we can actually select one of the ones. Let's say I want a Lightning Nova Eternal. We can just go for this here, and that's going to select it here. So as you can see, I'm missing some of this material for the fine craft, but I just want to explain these materials really quickly. So for the iron ore, this is what's used for the main hands and the offhand. So if we click on fine craft here, we can see that it's always using 50 iron ore, whether that be for a normal craft or a Finecraft, and then it's using 6 of the Rhodolite. So every Finecraft that you do requires a minimum of 6 Rhodolite. So the main hand and the offhand reuse the same material, and then each of the armor pieces use the Stained Remains, as you can see here, and then the same thing for the Rhodolite, like I said, requires 6 Rhodolite. So the only other material is the silver ore, and this is used for the skill stones, which I'll also talk about a bit later. So let's go back to the equipment crafting here. Like I said, I don't have enough material, but luckily one of my friends was actually able to farm these Rhodolite. So as you can see here, my friend is going to do a Finecraft for a legendary chest piece, and the special attribute that he selected is the Crosswinds. So this is one of the new special attributes for the Tempest, and he wants to test that out, so that's the one he selected. And as you can see, unfortunately, he got pretty unlucky with the craft here, because although he got the promised 3 random attributes, so it is a triple stat, he only got 2 magic attributes here, one of which is the special guaranteed magic attribute that he selected. So that's pretty unfortunate, because it means that the special guaranteed one that you select is actually part of the 2 magic attributes that you can get. Obviously you can get 2 to 4, which is the same as the items that we have currently in the game, but yeah, he got pretty unlucky here. And it's kind of unfortunate that these items aren't really super special, aside from the fact that you can actually target the piece that you want, as well as the legendary power that you want, which is pretty powerful in a sense, but I'd love to have seen something a bit more special for these, in my opinion. So now that I've gone over equipment crafting, let's quickly go over skillstone crafting. So this is really simple. The only option you have is to select skillstone, and this requires 150 silver ore, and silver ore is the only material that can be used for this. It has no other purpose, so you might as well use it. And it says you can gain 3 random skill bonuses for your class, so there's no option to select different classes while you're playing on your current class. And it says down here something really important, which is that crafted skill stones cannot be traded. This is a bit of a bummer, because skill stones usually are normally all tradable, and you have to pay 500 platinum for that, whereas this is kind of more of a free-to-play option, and it's actually pretty nice and even stronger than the 500 platinum crafting, because the 500 platinum crafting is just like pretty much random for the skills that you get. But this is actually a really good option, but unfortunately it seems like Blizzard doesn't want you to be making platinum from this. Now that I've gone over the crafting side of things, I actually want to talk more in detail about all of these different materials. So the best way to actually talk about them is to go to the codex here, and this is actually a really useful thing. If you go to the activities section and scroll all the way down here, you can actually see this crafting material collection. This is really useful because it gives you your weekly collection progress. So basically all of these new materials are all capped, and you can see the caps here. These are all the weekly caps. You have 150 iron ore, 150 stained remains, 150 silver ore, and then for the rhodolite, which is the more of a rare material, you only get 6 of it per week. And if we actually look more in detail for each of these materials, so the rhodolite, the silver ore, and the iron ore can all be farmed in the same way. Here we can see all of the options that we have to actually acquire this material. So we have mining, oblivion pillars, and hellslayer bounties, terror rifts, only inferno 1+, and then the destruction's call, which I'll talk a little bit about in this video. But let's start off with the mining. So for the mining is actually pretty simple. All of the open world zones now that we have in the game, regardless of which difficulty you're playing, will have some kind of ore that you can mine, and it's actually pretty simple. A lot of them are really easy to find. They're really near some of the more popular farming zones, but there's also a couple in some different positions as well. But when you get near one, the map is going to flash and you'll be able to click it there. Unfortunately, it doesn't show you the locations of all of them, but once you actually know where they are, they do actually respawn on the timer, and they are actually pretty easy to mine. Although it is a bit boring in my opinion, they could have done something more interesting with it, like introduce pickaxes or something like that, but maybe they just wanted to keep it really simple. And then as far as mining goes, I do want to talk also about the amount that you get. So rhodolite seems really rare. For each of these activities, you can only get up to 1 of it per activity, and if you do keep farming all of these, you will end up getting all 6 of them for the week, so it isn't too hard to acquire, just takes a bit of time. On the other hand, the silver ore and the iron ore are really easy to acquire in my experience, and I've already capped all of them just with a few hours of play after the update update has gone live. So talking specifically about mining, you can get 2 to 3 silver ore and 2 to 3 iron ore per ore that you mine. And for the Oblivion Pillars and Hellslayer bounties, from what I've seen, you can actually get 5 silver ore and 5 iron ore just from one chest of the reward. So I believe that if you get like 3 chests from that, you're going to gain a bunch of silver ore and iron ore. So it's really easy to cap from running Oblivion Pillars and Hellslayer bounties. And then from the Terror Rifts, if you run those, you can get up to 4 of each material from the clearing the Terror Rift Spire. So all in all, it's actually really easy to cap these materials. And actually, I wouldn't recommend you guys to bother with mining too much. It doesn't really make sense. You should just focus on the activities that you usually farm, like Oblivion Pillars, Hellslayer bounties, and Terror Rifts. And just from those, you'll be able to cap the material pretty easily. And usually on the way to like Oblivion Pillars and stuff, you will find ore to mine as well, so you can just click that on the way. So if you do find it on the way or while you're farming, you can go ahead and mine, but I wouldn't go out of my way to mine. It doesn't really give you any benefit, in my opinion. Maybe if you're struggling to find Rhodolite, then that could be like a last ditch option. But for the last material here, which is the Stained Remains, if we click get more, this material is a bit different from the other 3, and this one says that you can get it from defeating elite monsters or from dungeons. So from what I've seen from my testing so far, if you defeat elite monsters, there's a chance that you can get the Stained Remains, and if it's a blue or yellow elite, it's going to give you 2 Stained Remains. If it's an orange elite, it's going to give you 4 Stained Remains, which is pretty good. As far as dungeons goes, I didn't notice any drops from the dungeon bosses so far. I'm not too sure why they've mentioned dungeons specifically, but from the elite monsters that you have in dungeons, you can actually gain the Stained Remains. So all in all, like I said, basically, if you just play the game normally and just run your dungeons, run your Terror Rifts, run your Oblivion Pillars, you're going to cap all of these materials, no problem, and no issues there. And like I said, I really wouldn't bother too much about specifically targeting mining. Although it is fun to run around in the open world, it's not really going to give you so much, and you'll be able to kind of do 2 birds with 1 stone, just sticking with one of these activities. So as far as the Destruction's Call goes, I haven't had a chance to play it yet. It's just gone live on my server. So the Destruction's Call event is located in the Ancient's Cradle, which you can find in the top left of the map here. So if you go to Ancient's Cradle and then go to the Exile's Repose waypoint, which is the one in the middle of the map, you'll be able to talk to this NPC here, Sharif, and you can see here he gives you a gameplay guide, which I'm not going to go through in this video, but this is basically like the zone PvP that you have, and you can start match from here. I really do hope that this new PvP mode is fun, but for those of you that don't like PvP, I wouldn't need to worry, because you don't actually need to be playing this mode. You will be able to cap all of these new materials just from doing your normal farming every day. Let's quickly talk about what you can actually expect to get from a full week of capping all of these materials. So like I said, for all 3 of these, the cap is 150 and the cap for the Rhodolite is 6. Looking at the iron ore here, you can see that I've reached 190, and this is because the quest line gives you an extra 40, but normally this cap for this is going to be 150, just like the rest. So assuming that you're capped to reach 150 of each of these, you'll actually be able to do 6 crafts per week, which is actually pretty good in my opinion, and 3 of those crafts will be armor slots, because you get 150 of the Stained Remains, and then 3 of them will be the weapon slots, the main hand and the offhand, which is the iron ore. And within these 6 weekly crafts that you can do, you'll also be able to do 1 fine craft, because you have 6 of the Rhodolite. So basically per week you can do 1 fine craft and 5 other regular crafts of your choice. You will also be able to do one of the skill stone crafts on top of this per week, which is also really nice. But you're not limited to actually doing all of these crafts in a single week. You will be able to stockpile this material, which is actually one of the advantages of it, and it's actually really nice. So it says down here that the power of crafted equipment depends on your level and the unlocked difficulty. So as you guys know, I have unlocked Inferno 6 here, so I do have the power to actually play this difficulty. Obviously I don't have the recommended combat rating, but the other part to kind of consider here is that you actually do need the level to actually craft the level that you want, because these items will all craft at the level that you have. So basically, in my opinion, the biggest advantage of this is that you can wait until you reach Paragon 800, so that's going to be in roughly 3 weeks from now, and then craft all of the pieces of your choice. So as far as what I'm going to do, if we go to my stash here, you can see I've pre-farmed quite a lot of Paragon 800 items here. So as you can see here, I have a main hand, offhand, pants, shoulders, for example, and I don't have a Paragon 800 helmet. So what I can actually do with this new system is actually target craft the missing item that I have. Let's say that I specifically want a triple stat helmet. Well, then I can just simply go to legendary head here and then find craft, and once I've reached Paragon 800, this is the button that I'm going to be clicking, just so I can actually get all of my items to be triple stat as soon as I'm Paragon 800. So for players that don't really care about stockpiling their material or waiting to craft when they reach the new Paragon level, then this system is still really useful, because let's say you need a specific item just so you can reach the required combat rating for a specific difficulty, well then you can just select the slot that you need. So the choice is really up to the player, whether they want to keep their materials and use them at a later date, or just use them to actually make up the CR that they need. And I really like that Blizzard's given us the choice there. So the question then is, why has Blizzard actually added this system? In my opinion, it seems like they actually want players to have an easier time obtaining a specific missing gear slot that they have, and they actually want players to run more of the weekly Terror Rifts and Oblivion Pillars to also get more of the Terror Essence. Talking more about Terror Essence, if we click the Services tab here and go to the Enchant, you can actually see that they've added the option to craft and enchant these new special attributes. So before you couldn't enchant these eternal attributes, and now you have the option to randomly get a different one. And you can see that they also have added the new affixes for each of these new skills that you're missing. So Scorch, Force Field, Slow Time, these are all new ones that we didn't have before. And you can see that the cost here is actually really expensive. I was really surprised by this, because I did actually ask for this feature, but I didn't expect them to be so expensive, because it is 10 Terror Essence, and this is just crazy in my opinion. It should be like half of this, or I think maybe two Terror Essence per roll, because like I said, you're getting a random one and you're not guaranteed to get the one that you want. So this was actually pretty crazy to see. The other thing to consider as to why they've added this new system is to actually be able to monetize some of these materials. So even though we actually can't sell the Rhodolite ourselves, it was teased that we would be able to sell this, and it did have a tradable icon. But when it's been released now, this isn't tradable. But even though we can't sell it ourselves, Blizzard sure as hell can sell it if they wanted to. And I wouldn't be surprised if they add some bundles or something to actually let us purchase this for real money, and the whales can basically have their fun with that. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a letdown that none of these materials are actually tradable or sellable on the market, and I could see that this would make a lot of free-to-play players sad. Personally, I'm actually kind of okay with this decision. Maybe Blizzard doesn't want gear to be fully pay to win, but who am I kidding? They'll probably end up selling this. And to be honest, we already have Terror Essence in the game, which we can directly purchase from the market for Platinum. So yeah, I'm not really sure why they haven't made this one tradable. To me, it's a bit weird that all of these items have weekly caps, even though they're trade restricted. The only thing I can think of for why they've added these caps is that they don't want people to stockpile them like crazy. After all, you can farm all of these just from doing your regular activities. At the end of the day, we have to remember that this is a mobile game, and Blizzard wants new players to always feel like they can catch up and join the game at any time. So it kind of makes sense. They don't want the system to be too overwhelming for those players, and I kind of understand why they've done it this way. What I really would have liked to see is a bit more creativity for these items that you can craft here. A lot of these items are going to be similar to the items that you can already get in the game. Granted that you can select the attribute that you want and also the piece that you want, but I would have liked to see a bit more kind of variety here, and maybe some stats that you can only get which are exclusive to this crafting mode. That would have actually been really nice, but maybe that's just something in the future to consider. Anyway, that's about all that I want to share for this one, guys. Do let me know what you think about the new item crafting and whether you agree or disagree with my takes, or if you have any questions, then do let me know. I'm going to be hopping off and actually trying the new Destruction's Call event now. Let's go ahead and enter the Destruction's Call now since it's active. So here we go. So just full disclaimer for you guys, I was planning to have this as a separate video, but it seems like we actually cannot play the Destruction's Call at all, and I'm not really sure what Blizzard was thinking. So this mode does actually look pretty cool. You can see that the zone has all been highlighted in red here, and there are quite a lot of different mechanics. So if we take a look at the how to play section here, you can see that we've got like a kind of capture the flag, and the first team that gets 1,000 points wins, and you can get points by claiming the flag, killing bosses, or killing enemy players. and these are all going to be highlighted on the map, and it gives you the different cooldowns here. So the flags will respawn every 90 seconds after being claimed, and the bosses will respawn every 60 seconds after being claimed. So that's all well and good, but the thing which is kind of annoying here is you can see that I've joined the zone, and you can see it says here 2 players have joined the zone, and it starts like a 2-minute countdown. And unfortunately, if there isn't 8 players joining the zone, then basically the mode just kicks you out, as you will see. And this is just really unfortunate because it means that the server kind of needs to pre-plan players to actually come and have pre-planned PvP. So you need to be playing with players that you kind of know, or that you bring along with you from your clan or from your friends. So you can't just have like a random zone PvP in this area. So it's kind of a letdown. I'm not able to test this currently. Maybe in the evening when my clanmates are on, I'll be able to try this out. But for now, unfortunately, it seems like this mode is kind of a fail. I could kind of see that in more inactive servers, nobody will really be able to play. Let's see if someone will actually join. So I've actually got 3 players now, and here we go, 5-second countdown, and you'll see basically that instead of the mode starting, I'm actually going to get kicked out. It says it requires at least 6 players. Okay, so it isn't actually 8 players, it's just 6 players to actually start the zone, but you can see that now I've just been kicked out. So that's really unfortunate in my opinion, and yeah, I'm not really sure why it's been done like this, but there we go, and I've just kind of decided to include it in this video. So I'm not really sure why Blizzard has added this 6-player requirement. It isn't mentioned anywhere here that there needs to be a minimum of 6 players, so most players are just going to go in and kind of waste their time, wait 2 minutes, and then get kicked out. So that's really unfortunate, and Blizzard should really do better. I'm going to end the video there, and I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.